Alright, so I just finished watching Star Wars Rebels Season 4. I watched seasons 1 through 3 back when the show first came out years ago, but I kind of got tired of it by the third season and I never ended up watching the fourth. I have a lot of thoughts on the fourth season and the show in general. I think it's a good show, but it's got a lot of problems, and I'll just talk about them here. So, first of all, I'll say I thought the fourth season was, I would say, like in between good and very good. I would say it's not quite there, I don't think. There were a lot of standout moments, but ultimately, it's just some frustrating things about this show in general that holds it back. I would say the biggest problem is plot armor, plot conveniences, and lazy writing sometimes. And what I mean by this is many situations are solved by deus ex machinas, which are like unexplained savior events at like the very end of an episode that really have very little build up. And this was very clear in the last episode where the whole plot hinged on something that was totally unexplained, which was the coming of those sea animals to, not sea animals, space animals to win the day. That was never built up or explained in any way. Furthermore, there's a bunch of plot conveniences, like, for instance, Hera gets captured in one episode, and all Ezra has to do to find her is just hold out his hand, and, like, through the Force, he knows her location exactly. Like, that shouldn't be the level of the sort of plot progression, I guess. And plot armor speaks for itself. It's just, it gets a little annoying throughout this show. There's so many times where the rebels should die, but they don't, and there's really no. It just doesn't seem well reasoned or explained, and it just pisses me off. And sometimes it has me rooting for the Empire because I'm like, these guys do not deserve to live. They are not even outsmarting their enemy at some points, and it just seems too OP. Um, Other problems. There's not enough violence in this show. It's like TV7, as in for 7-year-olds. Clone Wars was way more mature, included way more violence. It wasn't afraid to deal with darker themes. This is much more kiddie for kids. Um, and I guess the last thing I would say that's wrong with it, even though I like the character of Ezra Bridger, I think they went way too far to make him like whiny. I understand he's like a younger person, but just sometimes he annoys me. He's always like has this tone in his voice that is just bothersome. Like, I don't know why he can't just talk normally. But anyway, I like the character. Now let's get on to the good things about season 4 in particular. Season 4, the Lothal sequence was pretty cool, I have to say. It had a lot of cool stuff. It tied in aspects from Star Wars The Clone Wars. It gave a great end to Kanan's character. I'm I'm happy that he finally took that mask off because he looked like such an idiot, and he cut his ponytail because I didn't like that either. He actually looked like a Jedi, and he did sort of a nice sacrifice, and there was this nice sort of lesson Ezra learns about, restraining his power. He has an opportunity to change the past, but he doesn't for the greater good, even though he has guilt and um sorry, I yawned. He has guilt and regret and feels lost, but he ultimately chooses not to act on that. And I like how we see what happens with Ahsoka, and he saves her, all while tying it into the Mortis arc of Clone Wars with the father, the daughter, and the son. The animation was definitely good. I liked Lothal as a planet is really cool. I thought the blockade was really awesome. Like, it looked really cool. The sort of bombarded surface looked really nice. Governor Price was a really good character. Thrawn is a great character, executed really well. Although it is just taken from Star Wars Legends, so it's not really original. What else was good about this? I thought like maybe the first half of the season, like the first 5 or 6 episodes were like pretty good, but kind of irrelevant. It was like trying to tie it in somewhat to Rogue One in like a referencey way. It didn't really have much to do with it. So yeah, there was some filler episodes, but less than the other seasons of the show. Rebels is kind of brought down by these meaningless non-episodes. Also, the final episode was like really good, but I thought the final monologue at the end was it was just out of place. It didn't add anything, in my opinion, to the movie, and it didn't feel like something that should be in a Star Wars movie. There was like a ending monologue where they summarize what had happened and all this stuff, and I just don't think that really makes a lot of sense. What are some other things that I thought was good about season 4? There was certainly like I think there was higher stakes than usual from a lot of these things, and it actually had a good villain, unlike the Grand Inquisitor, who was just like a throwaway villain. Thrawn was pretty good. I liked that character of the assassin. He was pretty cool and a formidable foe. But like I say, the only thing I really didn't like about it is there's way too much plot armor and plot convenience, and it just seems weird. And then I don't like at the end where they're like, ooh, the Empire eventually fell one day at the Battle of Endor, and, you know, all these characters were at the Battle of Endor, totally, like, just accept it. This is dumb. It didn't really make much sense. I don't really think they had to tie it in, like, to the Battle of Endor. The stuff with the Emperor was pretty cool. They made a lot of missed opportunities, like, Thrawn goes to Coruscant, and we never get to actually see him go or talk with the Emperor. It's a little too focused on... I know they're trying to imitate the original trilogy, but at least that followed a few different sets of characters, and we cut back through their stories, but it was too focused on, like, staying in one place and always sticking to, like, this same group of characters that frankly sometimes are likable but sometimes are not. Like, Ezra is a good character, but at times he's just too whiny and bothersome. Zeb is a pretty good character, but sort of he's not that interesting. Kanan is cool, and I especially like how he died, and I like his whole end to his character, but at times he just doesn't seem like a Jedi, really. They don't do much fighting with their lightsabers. Like, I noticed this in one of the episodes, they were deflecting a bunch of bullets, but it wasn't hitting anybody, so it was just sort of like pointless. Hera is she's a pretty good character. I liked her end with Kanan, that was nice. Sabine, I'm not a big fan of her character at all. And I don't like her mom or dad. They're kind of annoying. My favorite character is probably Chopper. I'm not gonna lie. I love that droid. That is like the best droid ever. Way better than that BB-8 loser. Am I missing any characters here? Yeah, but definitely it's not comparable to Clone Wars at all. It's certainly much more forgettable than Clone Wars. I mean, the first 2 seasons are a lot of filler. Season 3 has some good moments. Season 4 has some good moments. But it just doesn't... It's not as concise as the Clone Wars. It's not I don't know, there's some like cheesy moments in the Rebels that Clone Wars doesn't really have. The characters are not nearly as likable. Like Ahsoka is far more likable than Ezra will ever be, and Ezra is kind of like supposed to be the Ahsoka of this show. Um, yeah, and Clone Wars sort of every single episode felt significant, even the ones that were not very important, like the small battle scenes from the earlier seasons, like particularly season one, which had less of a heavily plotted structure. It was more just like, let's see some battles. It felt more significant because it felt like they were in a war, and every battle, even if it was not too significant, led to some further advancement of the Republic's victory in the galaxy. So, yeah, those are basically my thoughts on Star Wars Rebels Season 4. I liked it, definitely. I don't want to sound too negative, but you can definitely see the Disney elements in places, and Dave Filoni, I think, really needs George Lucas to like sort of focus his ideas. I know he likes Star Wars, and you can tell that he actually likes what he's making, but I do think there is a lack of creativity on his part that is certainly, when compared to George Lucas, he's not comparable. And I think having George Lucas on the Clone Wars show, you got, you know, a far more significant story to the characters involved. Like, it felt like everything was building on the characters of Anakin or Obi-Wan or Palpatine or Darth Maul or whatever. This, many episodes are kind of irrelevant, and the creativity is just not there. It's like a lot of side quests, when in the Clone Wars we felt like we were watching something that could have been like a movie or like a spin-off, but this definitely couldn't be. It's too, I don't know, it's almost like a hangout movie. Like, think of like Goodfellas, but you don't want to hang around the characters for so long. That's my feeling. It's too muted. Everything is just so restrained that there's not enough substance for you to actually care all that much. Alright, guys, but I think I'm done here. Just wanted to make a little video because I've been doing a lot of Star Wars stuff. Yeah, this is my review of Season 4 of Rebels. I hope you liked it. Bye.